So yesterday, I got a lot of flack for not having USC in my top 10. People were commenting all over. How can you not have the Trojans as one of the best teams in college football? Plain and simple, they haven't lived up to their standard defensively, even though they went out and they added in talent. But also, I believe what I've seen from the 10 other teams ahead of them, they are very much a more complete roster. That's how I feel. And I'm allowed to have whatever rankings I want. It's my show, damn it. I'm going to do what I think is right. But I also said something on yesterday's show that absolutely sent everyone in haywire style, and I don't really care. The best team in college football right now, and the one team that you do not want to face is Washington. It's Washington. And I know that if we're just looking at resumes, you can make an argument that Florida State might be the most complete team in college football. Because you know what? They beat up on LSU, and LSU has turned the corner. They're probably not a top 10 team in college football, but they certainly are a top 15. You could say that Clemson, albeit has 2 losses, they played abysmal against Duke, and they found a way to get a loss because they couldn't make a field goal against the likes of the Seminoles, that they should be maybe 4-0 on the season. Not really going to get into that right now. Clemson is a hostile place to play. It is an absolute abysmal atmosphere for teams to go into, and they handle business and they walk away with a win. So I'll give credit where credit's due. Resume style, Texas has a better resume. Florida State has a better resume. I would even say Georgia at this point has a good enough resume to put themselves at number 1. But the one team that I do not want to play right now is Washington. I don't. Because offensively, they can go toe-to-toe with you on every single play, and they can do it quick. They can easily slice and dice you up and get 3 plays down the field for gains of 30-plus yards and find a way to walk into the end zone. Do you know that right now Washington offensively has the number 2 scoring offense in the country? Only behind Oregon. They're ahead of USC. They're ahead of Oklahoma. They're ahead of Washington State. They're ahead of Miami. They're ahead of Florida State, LSU, and a bunch of other teams that have put up 40-plus points. They have the number 1 passing attack right now in college football. They're averaging nearly 500 yards a game. They have 17 touchdowns, and Michael Penix Jr. has a passer rating of over 223. Their completion percentage of plays is 73.9%. And total offense, they rank number 1. They're averaging nearly 600 yards per outing. And this is with a rushing attack that is below average at best. At best. They're legit. Do not count out the Huskies because number 1, they have a Heisman caliber quarterback. I've already told you that Michael Penix Jr. has been phenomenal this season since coming back in to the organization. Last year, he could have gone pro. I don't think anybody out there would have doubted his success story, what he was able to do, and how he could have capitalized with there being questions at players outside of Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. And maybe if you really wanted to, Anthony Richardson, he could have been the 4th best quarterback and a first-round talent. He could have. But he decided to return for another year, and so far he is balling out. There is a legitimate conversation that he could throw for over 5,000 yards this season and 60 touchdowns. He has 16 through 4 games. Not to mention, he also has a completion percentage of 75% and a passer rating of over 210. He always is finding ways to get in the end zone. And it's one thing for him to just have a great wide receiver. Like, think back to when Jamar Chase was on the field and Justin Jefferson were on the field. They were elite studs. Now, Chase ended up being the guy who found his way to nearly 2,000 receiving yards. Jefferson was more so the touchdown machine. But then look at like Alabama a year later. Alabama was just as potent as an offense. They were great in the rushing attack thanks to Najee Harris, thanks to Brian Robinson Jr. They also had a pretty decent mobile quarterback in the red zone of Mac Jones. 1 wide receiver, Devonta Smith. If you took away Devonta Smith, there was an opportunity for you to be able to walk away victorious. Very good game plan. Washington has 3 guys that could go for over 1,000 yards before the midway point. Rome Odunze has nearly 600 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns. Jalen Polk, 427 receiving yards, 4 touchdowns. Jalen McMillan, who is going to be a first-round pick, has 311 yards and 3 touchdowns. It doesn't matter who you target. One of them is going to be open. So one of them is going to find a way to get the first down, move the sticks, and get you into positive territory. That's why Washington is dangerous. And the defense so far hasn't been great, but it isn't anything to be that nervous about. The one game that you would be nervous about for Washington's defense right now is probably against Oregon. And we're going to get that game on October 14th. And you're going to see why this roster maybe is the best in college football. Here's the best part of that entire conversation. Oregon has games ahead against Stanford and then a bye week. Washington also has a bye week. So both of these teams are, number one, going to be fully healthy when they play against each other, fully rested when they play against each other. So there will be no excuse for either team to upset or be downtrodden. They both will be at full capacity, which is a massive standard in my opinion. Oregon has at least struggled at times putting up offensive consistency against lesser tier opponents. Texas Tech has absolutely been one of the biggest disappointments in college football this year. They have. They lose the likes of West Virginia, they lose the likes of Oregon, and they lose the likes of Wyoming. All three games, probably winnable. All three games, they're now sitting at 1-3. Bad performance. Very bad performance from Texas Tech this year. But you can't say the same thing about Washington. Washington in their 4 games, 58 points against Boise State, 43 points against Tulsa, 59 points against Cal, 41 points against Michigan State. And all those teams have defensive flaws beyond belief, but it wouldn't matter. They could have been a top 25 defense. They still would have done the exact same thing. And if you want to talk about how offense wins championships in today's college football, okay, find me a better offense right now than Washington. Find me a better team than the Huskies. Do it. I would love to see it. I would love to see the numbers. There isn't one because the numbers tell you that the total offense is in favor of the Huskies. They're great on third down. They know how to pick up the sticks. They don't even have to get to third down before they get a fresh set and they hit the reset button. That's how good they are. And you want to tell me that this team can't go far? The Pac-12 is going to cannibalize itself. And if offensive metrics stand tall, and if your defense can hold its own against other high-potent teams, you're walking away victorious. I would say as of this moment, Washington and Oregon should be the favorites to win the likes of the college football playoff, or at least the likes of the Pac-12 to make it to the college football playoff. And both are going to be tested. Both are. Oregon still has games ahead against USC. They still have games ahead against Oregon State. They still have games ahead against Washington. They'll play Utah. They will play Washington State as well. So they'll have basically the exact same schedule as the likes of the Huskies. Whoever walks away with more wins, guess what? That probably is the team that's going to make it to the likes of the college football playoff this year. And 11-1, yeah, you're good. You'll be able to get there. I have no doubt in my mind that the way that these two teams have played, but primarily Washington, you don't want to face off against them right now. Because if you could be up by 14 points, 21 points, 28 points, and within a quarter, you're down by 10. That's how quickly this team can move. That's how quickly this team can adapt. And that's how quickly this team can get the points back and find a way to get the victory. That's just plain simple. Washington right now is the best team in college football, and they're not slowing down anytime soon. Hour 3 next. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that video. Don't hit the X button yet. Make sure you hit subscribe to keep up with all of our daily content found on Just Saying It and anything else that we post on this channel. Bye.